Hey everyone, if this looks a little strange, it's because it's on the government phone. I'm gonna use this phone more often because it has the default Android system on it versus the Samsung, and Android's just so much easier to use. I'm just like, but yeah. Oh, so this video isn't about that. This video is actually gonna be about CBD and the three different types of CBD. I started with CBD long before I got into THC. Well, except for that one time I tried homemade edibles, which is a horrible experience that kept me away from THC for another few years to come. And there's the three different types. Since there's only three, it's really easy. It was really easy for me to get into. I think I either started CBD either 2018 or early 2019. And it's CBD Isolate, full spectrum, and broad spectrum. Now, back when I got started, CBD Isolate was the most expensive, but I think that the market has changed to make full spectrum the more expensive one, and CBD Isolate and broad spectrum are the cheaper options. Um, so, in my experience, I look for CBD Isolate because when I want CBD, that's all I want. But full spectrum is more accessible and more available. And a lot of people avoid broad spectrum because broad spectrum can have a certain amount of THC in it. And I do have stuff in the things for y'all to look up the information. Or of course, you could just do your own research, whatever. I just make suggestions. And I have gotten comfortable with CBD, which is why I've started trying THC now. I still don't do homemade edibles. I had another experience with homemade edibles after I started CBD, and it was still bad. So it's like, no more homemade edibles. I buy the stuff. I know what's in it. I know how much THC and whatever else is in it because it has a chart for the strains and all that. I do that. But CBD, you'll find, is a lot easier to manage. It's non-psychoactive, meaning that you don't get high. And it, with broad spectrum having like a little bit of THC in it, it's still not enough to get you high. Broad spectrum, in my experience, makes me sleepy. Like, if the thing says broad spectrum, I'm like, okay, that's for bedtime. That's great. If you get something from a store, like a co-op or something, like one of those balanced drinks, not sponsored, it doesn't have, I don't think it has it on there, but I think the assumption is that everything that you would get out of a store that's like a grocery store would be full spectrum, unless it says otherwise. A lot of things are often labeled full spectrum, like there's a brand of gummies with some very eye-catching, rugged-looking, edgy-looking packaging that says full spectrum on it. And they have like the calm and the sleep formulas of CBD. And which of course it just mixed with other things, like other herbal things like lemon balm and chamomile and whatnot. Charlotte's Web, that's what I'm thinking of. Not sponsored. When I started, I was getting my stuff online because online had more options, and then I found a store that at the time had a whole lot of options for CBD, but doesn't really these days, or didn't by the time I left Minneapolis. But a lot of options in edible stuff. And I started doing THC and vaping when I got here to Arizona because vaping is more accessible here and THC is more accessible here. So I'm getting off. I'm talking about CBD. CBD. So first of all, if you have a doctor, or you have any concerns or any medical conditions or anything, talk to your doctor first. Weigh your options, do your own research, figure out what's right for you. I'm not a medical professional, nor am I giving you medical advice. I'm just here to sing the praises of CBD. I started off with topicals and edibles. I enjoy lotion the most. I don't really want to use CBD soap because I just, I'm washing it off. Whereas, like, if I put it on my skin, I want it to stay on, so I use lotion. There's also face masks and stuff like that. In my experience, CBD is very good and calming. And I don't have a suggestion between full spectrum, broad spectrum, and isolate. Those are just the 3 types that are available. It doesn't really go in strains like the stuff when you start getting into THC. It's just those 3 things. And like, I got very spoiled off of just those 3 things being the only things that I had to keep up with, to be perfectly honest with you. Because when I got into THC and we started talking about strains and indica, hybrid, and sativa, and like how there can be sativa dominant and indica dominant strain, hybrid strains, I was like, okay, I'm here for the science. But it's like, if you are looking for something non-psychoactive, a non-psychoactive relaxation tool, I would say you can't go wrong with CBD. Now, if you're trying to vape, that's when things are going to get a little bit difficult because you're going to get more state restrictions on vapes. Edibles and topicals are way more accessible. And you can find topicals at, not sponsored, Sprouts, Trader Joe's, not Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and a few other places. I suggest shopping local. Local can be a little bit more expensive, but still, it's worth a few extra dollars to shop local. And a lot of times the people in the local stores know what they're talking about, and if you have any questions, they can answer them, versus I just stock the shelves and I don't get paid enough to care. And I would say the things that I've been sticking with the longest is full spectrum because it's more accessible. But there are some websites that are really good about supplying CBD isolate. And there's sources that suggest that when you're just getting started, you should start with 20 to 40 milligrams. I would say start based on your weight if that's what you're considering. And, most adults over 125 pounds, most of us are, can start at 40. Some even 50. So yeah, if you're thinking about CBD and you don't have any complications with it and you're doing your research, do give it a try. I don't have any brand suggestions. I know not all sites and brands are created equal, but what I can tell you is don't get it from Amazon, because Amazon will, like, if you put in CBD, it'll have it in the search, but it'll just be hemp. Go to actual CBD outlets. And that's my only real suggestion. Love yourself and each other, and stop fascism in America. See you later. Bye.